At the beginning of the story, we see two cousins, a boy named Richard, who is 9 years old, and a girl named Emmy, who is 7 years old. They are both on a ship with Richard's father and are returning home. Both children are being mischievous, so Richard's father tells them to stop. Suddenly, they see that the ship has caught fire, which causes everyone on the ship to panic and chaos spreads everywhere. Due to the smoke, nothing is clearly visible. Richard's father and some people shift to a boat to save their lives. The ship's cook, whose name is Paddy, takes Richard and Emmy with him in a small boat. But because of the smoke from the fire, he can't see anything and gets separated from them and goes away. Paddy, along with the two children, drifts in the middle of the ocean without food or water. The next morning, Paddy and both children see that there is an island in front of them. Seeing this, Paddy becomes happy and they come to that island in their small boat. This island is surrounded by greenery and coconut trees everywhere. Paddy starts exploring the island so that if he finds any person, he can ask them for help, but he doesn't find anyone. Now these people are completely stuck on this island. However, Paddy understands that all the necessary things to survive on this island are available. Paddy also finds a barrel of alcohol there which had drifted from the ship to the shore. When Richard is playing, he finds a human skull which he shows to Paddy. Seeing this, Paddy tells him to throw it away and understands that there is danger here. So he takes the children and goes to the other side. At night, when Paddy is drinking alcohol, he hears drum sounds from the other side of the island. Hearing this, Paddy swims to that side where he sees that a piece of human flesh is placed on a statue. Seeing this, Paddy understands that human sacrifices are made here. He gets scared and comes to Richard and Emmy and says that you both promise me that no matter what happens, you won't go to that side of the island. This is the law's rule. You have to follow it. But questions arise in the children's minds about why Paddy is forbidding them from going there. Paddy says that cannibals live there who eat children. Richard thinks that his father will come and take them away from here. Paddy also thinks they will be rescued. But until then, he takes responsibility for the children and teaches them to find food and build shelter. He teaches the children to survive in this jungle for 2 months, so that even if something happens to him, the children can survive. One night, Paddy drinks too much alcohol and sees that his alcohol barrel is sinking in the ocean. He goes to lift it, and because of being intoxicated, he starts drowning in the water. The next morning, when Richard and Emmy wake up, they see that Paddy is not there. They both look through binoculars and see that Paddy is lying on the sand on the other side of the island. They both sit in the small boat and go to Paddy. They think that Paddy has drunk too much, so he is just sleeping. They try to wake him up, but he doesn't wake up, which makes them realize that Paddy had drunk so much alcohol that he died. Seeing this, Richard and Emmy feel very bad and they are now completely alone. Emmy tells Richard that I miss Paddy here. I can't stay here anymore. Take me somewhere else. Richard agrees with her and they pack their things and sit in the boat and come to the other side of the island. This jungle seems suitable for them to live in. Here too there is no problem with food and water, so they both build their new home. In the initial days, they have to struggle. But what Paddy had taught them doesn't give them much trouble, and they gradually learn to live on this island. Several years pass while these two live on this island, and both have now grown up. Richard is now 21 years old, and Emmy is 19 years old. They both catch fish together, pick fruits, and live together, and physical and emotional changes begin to occur in Richard and Emmy, which they don't understand and are unaware of these changes. One day when Emmy is bathing, she gets her first period and blood comes out. Seeing this, she gets scared and calls Richard. When Richard comes hearing her voice and asks what happened, she embarrassedly tells him to go away. After some time, when Emmy comes out of the water after bathing, Richard asks her what happened to you. He thinks that Emmy got hurt somewhere, but Emmy doesn't tell him anything. This makes Richard angry. He thinks that Emmy never used to hide anything from him before, but now she has started hiding a lot. Gradually, Emmy and Richard start getting attracted to each other. When Richard walks around shirtless, Emmy keeps looking at him. When Emmy goes to bathe in the river, Richard watches her. But due to lack of social knowledge, they can't understand these things because both of them have been stuck here since childhood and they have never read about this. Here Richard catches fish, picks fruits, and Emmy cooks fish and washes clothes. They both live happily on this island laughing and joking together. But they still had hope that one day Richard's father would come to rescue them. One day Emmy hears the sound of drums being played from that end of the island where Paddy had forbidden them to go. But Emmy is curious about what is happening there, so she goes there alone. She sees the same statue there where blood was dripping down. Emmy thinks that this place is sacred and this is God's place. So she runs to Richard and tells him that I went to that side of the island where Paddy had forbidden us to go. There I saw a statue which was perhaps of God. Paddy had lied to us. There are no cannibals there. Hearing all this, Richard gets angry. He says we had promised Paddy that we wouldn't go there, but you made a big mistake by going there. But from now on, don't go there. At night when Emmy is sleeping, she has a bad dream in which Richard dies by drowning in water. She wakes up scared. Emmy sees that morning has come and Richard is standing in front of her. Emmy tells him, "Promise you won't leave me and go anywhere." Both embrace emotionally. Richard kisses her and tries to do something more with her, but Emmy pushes him away. At night again, Richard tries to come close to her, but Emmy tells him to go away. Whose face, Richard? This makes Richard upset, and the next morning he doesn't talk to Emmy. Emmy sees that Richard is doing something behind the stones, but she doesn't understand. When she calls him, Richard gets angry at her. After some time, when Richard is picking coconuts from the tree, he sees a ship in the ocean for the first time in so many years. Seeing this, he gets down from the tree and runs towards a hill where he had gathered wood so that he could light a fire and attract the attention of people on the ship and ask them for help. But Richard is late in reaching there and the ship moves away from there. During that time, Emmy had also seen that ship. She had a chance to light the fire, but despite seeing the ship, she didn't do it because she had started liking to live here and had also accepted this life. Then Richard comes there and gets angry at her for not lighting the fire. He tells Emmy, "I'm fed up with you. I'll leave here alone." Richard sits in that small boat and leaves from there. But halfway through, Richard's boat breaks and he falls into the water. Reluctantly, he has to return to the island. Emmy starts making fun of him and says now this island is our home and we should stay here. Hearing this, Richard gets angry and they have an argument. They start insulting each other. Emmy says, "I know what you do alone behind the stones. I'll tell your father." Richard says, "You watch me secretly." To this, Emmy says, "You also watch me when I bathe." Hearing this, Richard throws a coconut at her in anger, but it doesn't hit her. But when Emmy throws, the coconut hits Richard's head, which makes Richard slap her and throw her out of the house. He says, "I built this hut. You can't stay here. I won't even give you food now." Due to which Emmy has to sleep outside and she has to arrange food alone. During this time, she has a lot of trouble and Richard keeps making fun of her. Emmy starts offering flowers to that statue on the island and prays to God. When she is coming from the ocean to her island, her foot steps on a poisonous stone fish, which causes her a lot of pain. She somehow returns to the island. When Richard sees Emmy sick, he asks her what happened. She says, "My foot stepped on a stone fish, so I got sick from the effect of the poison." She tells him, "Take me to my God." Richard lifts Emmy in his lap and brings her near the statue. Emmy's condition is very bad and she becomes unconscious. Richard gets scared that something might happen to Emmy, so he prays to God to heal Emmy. After some time, Emmy regains consciousness and is completely fine. The energy, peace, and environment there helped her body recover. Richard is happy to see Emmy and says, "I was very scared that if something happened to you, what would I do alone on this island?" Emmy says, "Aren't you angry with me?" Richard says no, and then both return to their island. One day, Richard and Emmy are sitting together talking. Then they both look at each other lovingly and kiss. They express their love and become intimate. This was the first time they were understanding this feeling that had been growing inside them for so long. Now they become close many times while exploring this. Both enjoy it a lot and they start living on this island like a couple, Many months pass while living together. Richard notices that Emmy doesn't come to him like before, and there has been a change in her behavior too. He asks Emmy, "Don't you love me like before?" To this, Emmy says, "I don't know, I'm not feeling well, I'm also vomiting." Then she puts Richard's hand on her stomach and says, "I feel something different is happening inside me." Richard also realizes. Actually, Emmy is pregnant, but they both don't have any knowledge about this. Richard thinks she is eating more food, so her stomach is swelling and there is some movement inside. One night, Richard hears the sound of drums from the other side of the island. When he goes there to see, he sees that some tribal people are sacrificing a man in front of that statue. Seeing this, Richard gets scared and runs from there to Emmy. Then Emmy starts having labor pains and she is screaming loudly. Seeing this, Richard quickly comes to her and helps her in delivery. Emmy gives birth to a son and both are very happy. They name the child Paddy. Then Richard and Emmy bring the child to their hut. He is crying, so Richard and Emmy give him food and water, but they don't know that the child needs mother's milk. When Emmy takes the child in her arms, the child starts drinking mother's milk. After this, Richard tells Emmy that he had seen some tribals making a sacrifice, and if they come here, they can harm them too, and says that if they do that, I won't spare them. Richard and Emmy become even happier after the child's arrival and love the child very much. Several years pass while living on the island. The child starts growing up. They teach him to swim, play, and speak. One day they are all playing on the seashore by applying wet mud on their bodies. Then Richard's father arrives there with some men on a ship looking for them. But when they see all three of them covered in mud from a distance, they don't recognize them and take the ship back. When Richard and Emmy see the ship, they don't know that Richard's father is on it. They don't call out to the ship and stay there quietly because they are happy in this life now and don't want to go back. They are afraid that if they return, they will have to go to that society where no one will understand them. After this, Richard goes to pick fruits towards the island in a boat with Emmy and his son. Before Paddy's death, these people stayed here for a few months. They start remembering their childhood by looking at the things around. Then Richard goes to pick fruits and Emmy is on the shore with her son. Their son picks poisonous berries while playing and keeps them in his boat. Emmy doesn't see this. Both of them return to the boat to wait for Richard. Emmy falls asleep, and when she wakes up, she sees that the boat has gone far from the shore. Then her son throws a paddle into the water. Emmy tries to pick up the paddle, but she is not successful. She immediately calls Richard, who starts swimming towards them. Then Emmy says, "There is a shark behind you. Come quickly." Richard moves quickly towards the boat without taking the paddle. Emmy hits the shark with the other paddle to save him from the shark, which gives Richard a chance to climb into the boat. But now they don't have a paddle with which they can go back to their island. They try to take the boat towards the shore with their hands, but the water current is very strong and due to fear of shark attack, they don't have the courage to swim. Their boat starts moving forward in the ocean on its own. These people drift in the ocean for 2 days. Their son gets hungry, so he eats the poisonous berries. Seeing this, Emmy and Richard try to take the berries out of their son's mouth, but he has already swallowed them. Both think that their son will die, so they both also eat the berries. All three lie down in the boat waiting for death and become unconscious. Actually, those berries are not that poisonous, they are just unconscious. After some time, Richard's father is on the ship and is looking here and there with binoculars. Then he sees Richard's small boat in the ocean. He shows this boat to his men. Then Richard's father and his men come to see by sitting in their small boat. They find Richard, Emmy, and their son in an unconscious state. Richard's father asks, "Are they dead?" The man answers, "No, sir, they are sleeping. They are rescued," and with this the movie ends. Friends, if you had to spend your entire life on an island with one person, who would it be? Please give your opinion in the comments section. Like and share the video and subscribe to the channel and press the bell icon so that you don't miss the upcoming videos. See you in the next video.